With your CIGTV News Update, I'm Donna Bush. Thanks for joining us. Mrs. Elizabeth Roper, wife of His Excellency Mr. Martin Roper, had a group of special guests at the governor's house on Wednesday for treats and coffee. On her third day on island, she met with leaders from various non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, in the Cayman Islands. Representatives from the various organizations, including the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens, the Cancer Society, Cayman Heart Fund, Hospice Care, the Pink Ladies, Cayman ARC, that's Acts of Random Kindness, and the NCVO Children's Services Programs all share details of what role their various charities play here in our local community. Meantime, on Tuesday, His Excellency continued his busy schedule of meetings with Opposition Leader Mr. Ezra Miller and Opposition MLAs Arden McLean, Al Saku, and Chris Saunders. He also met with Georgetown Central Independent MLA Kenneth Bryan on his second day in office. In his swearing-in speech on Monday afternoon, just hours after his arrival, Mr. Roper said he wants to understand the views, concerns, and aspirations of all people of the Cayman Islands and listen to the Premier, Leader of the Opposition, other elected representatives, public servants, business, civil society, and communities. Continuing on in other news, recently the annual healthcare conference was held over 3 days and various health-related topics were discussed, including mental illness in children. Dr. Rani Saleh presented on this particular subject on day one.
That being said, in a family with one ADHD child, you're likely to find an ADHD parent. And, following through with treatment recommendations can be a challenge for that household, simply because there's more than one ADHD individual conducting the treatment plan. So mental disorders are influenced by multiple genes, not just one gene. So it's very much like hypertension or obesity. And each gene, which has a impact, has only a very small impact, but in aggregate, they produce a higher risk. So even in disorders we think are distinct, like autism, ADHD, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, they all share some common areas of genetic vulnerability. Particularly, more recent studies have shown chromosome 3 spanning several regions, several genes are linked to all 5 disorders. But we don't have enough knowledge yet to connect all the dots.
And you can watch the 3-day conference only here on CIGTV broadcast channel as well as our YouTube channel. Be sure to go on gis.gov.ky and click on the publications link at the bottom of the page to see when the various segments from the 2018 Healthcare Conference will air right here on CIGTV. Continuing on the subject of healthcare, the director of the HSA's primary healthcare, Dr. Samuel Williams Rodriguez, is advising of the arrival of this year's flu vaccine. Vaccines for the seasonal flu will be available at the Cayman Islands Hospital, District Health Clinics here in Grand Cayman, Faith Hospital on Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman Clinic. Now, the flu vaccine is free to all residents. No appointments are necessary. However, persons should indicate to the registration officer at the clinic that they need to have the flu shot. We recommend, they say, that people get vaccinated as soon as possible and definitely before the peak of the flu season, which ranges between December and January. Dr. Williams Rodriguez says, further advises that the vaccine is only effective for 1 season. All persons 6 months of age and older should get the vaccine. It is especially important for people at high risk for complications from influenza and those who live with or care for them be vaccinated early each year. Again, high-risk persons include children that are 6 months to 4 years old, pregnant women, persons with weakened immune systems, and older persons. Companies who are interested in the program should contact the Public Health Department at 244-2621 or 244-2889 or email publichealthdepartment@hsa.ky to register your staff to get the free flu vaccine. Finally, again, a reminder to go online to gis.gov.ky to take a look at the programs on CIGTV this week. If you missed today's news update, you can go to the Cayman Islands Government Facebook page as well as the YouTube channel. That is the CIG Television YouTube channel. For now, I'm Donna Bush, as always, thanking you for joining us, wishing you a wonderful and safe night, and hoping you'll join me back here again tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye for now. know that planning permission is required for a shed? Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know planning permission is required to clear land by mechanical means? You should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required.
Boating, fishing, and water sports in the Cayman Islands are great, but keep a cool head. Here are 7 tips for fun and safe sea outings. Number 1. Use a checklist to plan your outing. Check the weather forecast, make a float plan, and share it with someone who is remaining on land, stating where you're going, with whom, and when you're expected to return. Visit your nearest marine supply store to get your safety gear. This includes signaling mirrors, whistles, and a flare kit. It's also very important to have onboard flotation devices and life vests for each person. There are different types of vests. Some are for water sport activities such as snorkeling, and others are for going on offshore boating or on fishing trips. Number 2. These items can be lifesavers in case of an accident or bad weather. Number 3. Use a motor kill switch, especially if you're boating alone. In case of a leak or breakdown, always stay with the boat until help arrives. If you capsize, an emergency beacon or locator device can send a distress signal to inform the authorities of your location. Larger flares will indicate distress to a boat, airplane, or search and rescue officials. Number 4. In addition to sunscreen, food, and beverages, it would be smart to have a cell phone. Make sure your marine radio works. Cayman boaters use channel 16 to communicate. Number 5. Also, don't forget your anchor and sufficient rope. Number 6. Boat operators should be familiar with the local waters and reefs, as well as the capabilities and functions of the vessels they are using. Always obey the rules of the sea and the marine environment, and have courtesy for others. Number 7. Alcohol and salt water do not mix, especially if you're the captain. Some useful contact numbers are 911. The RCIPS Marine Base is 649-7710, and the Port Authority is 949-2055. Smooth sailing, all!
Did you know that planning permission is required for an addition, alteration, or any material change to your house? The 10% rule no longer exists. Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required?
The Esterly-Tibbetts Highway 3-lane roundabout is ready for drivers. It's time to make sure you know how to use it. First, know which exit you need to take. Pay attention to lane arrows and signs. Make sure you use your signal to change lanes or exit the roundabout. To turn left, you always approach in the left-hand lane and indicate left. To drive straight ahead, you need to be looking out for signs and road markings indicating which lane to use. Get in one of the lanes marked with a straight-through arrow. If turning right, you must use the right-hand lane and indicate accordingly. To use the roundabout safely, remember these 3 tips. Know your exit, pick your lane, and signal to make your turn.